Surfing. An Australian duo consisting of Penny Van Hazelberg and Leroy Nania is a widely accepted artist in the Bandcamp scene, reaching the bestsellers list, and specifically the Vaporwave scene. I think George Clanton, the head of electronic and Vaporwave label 100% Electronica and current digital physical distributor of the album, explains them best in this Bandcamp Daily interview from September 2016. In 2012, the Vaporwave genre was still relatively new. Anything that seemed vapey was studied closely by all the would-be Vaporwave producers of 2016. From inside this community, Deep Fantasy is seen as a kind of outlier with its original vocals and traditional song structure. I liked that Surfing seemed to use more real instruments and the songs were catchier. The thing I like most about it is that the melodies are first class. Before I get into the album, I would like to give you a heads up about something interesting. What if I were to tell you that there are actually 2 lesser-known albums made by Surfing? Well, this is true, and you can find it on their own 100% Electronica separate Bandcamp page. First, Surfing, EP 2011, an album headed by Lee and former frontman Pippi Longstocking. It is honestly a pretty great collection of music that is either greatly unnoticed or greatly underappreciated. It definitely has a similar vibe to its predecessor Deep Fantasy, but more funk-filled. Even though it wasn't tagged as Vaporwave until the scene took off, I totally recommend giving it a listen as it has been a regular listen for me. Surfing just released a 2011 EP on all streaming platforms as of February 27th, 2019. The second unnoticed album is once again on their own Bandcamp page. Chrome is chronologically the 3rd Surfing album and includes the current Surfing ensemble, taking place after Deep Fantasy. Surfing decides to experiment making a fusion of styles of trap beats and ambient music while still attempting to maintain the house vibe they keep throughout each album. It got mixed reviews, mostly from fans not so good, but it seems Surfing didn't like the style either. That's because kablam! Surfing is back and better than ever with their newest album, Incubo. The ultimate continuation from Deep Fantasy. A swallow of fresh... I said breath! What is that? Bam! Surfing is back and better than ever with their newest album, Incubo, the ultimate continuation from Deep Fantasy, a swallow of fresh water to wash out the bad taste left for some die-hard fans, a return to their classic chillwave vapor sound featuring an amazing lineup of different sounds but a nice flow of continuity with their styles. If you haven't listened to it yet, really, listen to it. Pause this right now and grab an ice-cold beverage, crank up your stereo, and pull Incubo up. But for me, Deep Fantasy will always be my personal favorite. It could be the quirkiness of the experimental sound at the time, or the memorable songs like the irresistible melodies in Moonlight, or Hit the Spot, a song that sounds like if pop artists made elevator music. Sky High, probably the only sample I can recognize in the album, or if even only. Or even Lifetime, my go-to play if I were to pick one song off the album. This catchy synth-based track, it begs for all attention as it seems to be found on a cassette last played in the late 80s by a group of new wave fans trying to make it big in the scene, but decided to drop out due to loss of interest. God, I love that song. Dubai and Killed a Man is the best way to finish off the album with a relaxing yacht rock influence feel. During the 100% Electronica tour, I managed to grab my signed copy of the Tour Red edition of Deep Fantasy. I also grabbed Incubo. And let me say, Deep Fantasy is a dream to play on vinyl. There are absolutely no warp, and it is extremely satisfying to watch the needle run into grooves of what appears to look like a giant cherry Jolly Rancher. I honestly think red vinyl looks best in my opinion. The quality of the vinyl is extremely well made. The plate it was made with is different than the white and black ones before it, so I suppose that suggests better sound quality. Sadly, the red vinyl sold out in like 7 minutes online, but left 200, the other half of their stock, for the tour. But if any of you are interested in avoiding the ridiculous sale prices, then I recommend you to cop the final pressing of the album, because when it is sold out, it is gone forever or left for flipper's paradise. The vinyl will be sold in teal, which complements the blue on the cover very nicely. The record was originally shrink-wrapped, but since I asked to sign it, it didn't come home that way. The vinyl itself was set inside the sleeve. Thankfully, it seemed to survive the tour very well, since I don't see any seam splitting. Seeing the album cover is surreal amongst itself. After drooling over expensively priced resale, it seems almost illegal to see it in my collection. I don't know, but red vinyl seems to be more valuable than any color variations in my eyes. Hence St. Pepsi's Hit Vibes, for example. Besides from complimenting the cover, red just oozes in telling you, you're going to have a great time spinning me. I don't hear any sound issues on my copy. In fact, it sounds better in person than it does through my uncompressed copy. I am a proud owner of Deep Fantasy, and I can now finally sleep.
Over your shoulder.